Christie. Welcome back to another IGC Answers. Got 5 answers for you today. The questions are all written below, and we'll get started. This is actually pretty common. I think I've seen this with multiple communities where they'll have 2 different habits, particularly where the climate is vastly different. So, for instance, in Chicago, where the Daughters of St. Mary of Providence are, it's really cold and snowy in the winter, and then in the summer it's really hot and humid. So for winter, we have a black habit that's a little bit longer sleeve, a little longer in the dress as well, and it just keeps us a bit warmer. In the summer, we have the gray habits, like what you saw on the show, Sister Beth Ann was wearing, and that's just going to be a little bit lighter, so we don't get as hot when we work. My favorite part about living in the convent, I still have to say that it's having adoration. I really like being able to go down the hall and see Jesus whenever I want, but right behind that is the community life. That was actually one of the things that I was most worried about for years and years. Oh, I don't want to go live with a bunch of women. There's going to be drama. And people have their differences and everything, but when the community of women that you're living with, or men, for men in religious orders, when their focus is Christ, there are so many blessings and so many things that you can learn from one another as you're all looking towards Jesus. It's just like in a marriage. When you marry a man, ideally the first person in your life is still God, and you are both together looking at God. And that's the same way in community that it is supposed to be, that we are all together walking towards Christ and helping each other in that journey. So my community has been such a huge blessing to me and very supportive in everything that I've struggled through and continue to struggle through. So I'm very grateful for them. Probably the most difficult thing for me is when I initially came, I was struggling just to kind of get the schedule of the convent down and the ministry, and knowing, okay, this day we go to Mass with the residents, this day it's Rosary, and then we do night prayer, and then we don't do night prayer, and then, we have this other thing to go to. There's just a lot of different things that can come up and happen all at once, and it took me a while to really get into the rhythm of the convent, into that pulse, and know, okay, this is happening, that's happening, and figure out how to balance my own time. Another thing that I found is that I need more sleep, it turns out, than what I'm getting on a day-to-day basis. I probably get between 6 and 8 if I'm lucky, usually closer to 7 is my median hours of sleep each night, which is okay for a period of time, but I found that I need like a nap once a week, so I try to fit that in when I can, but again, that schedule, things come up, so like my nap this week has yet to happen, so maybe later today, or tomorrow, or on Saturday, who knows, but at some point I need to get an extra hour or 2 of sleep. So the next 2 questions are kind of similar. The first part of it is, does the ministry help you more fully embrace your new life? And I would say yes. I think that it's kind of like the old covenant and the new covenant, and that Christ doesn't get rid of the old covenant, right? He fulfills it, and then there's more. There's a new piece to it. And I think that that's the same thing with my life, and probably a lot of women or men as they enter a religious order or pursue a vocation, is that your old life doesn't completely go away, but there's just more added. And so I think that there needs to be that fulfillment of the old covenant, and the old covenant would be the ministry, the ministry that I'm used to doing, and that I feel like God has really given to me, and that's a ministry of just being present and available to people, teens, young adults, being able to just talk with them and work with them. And I do a lot of that with the ladies here in the apartments. I get to work with them and be there for them and settle disputes and whatever is going on, and have fun with them, and we have dance parties, and I'm fulfilled. That part of my life is fulfilled. So I think the ministry definitely helps in that. And then there's this whole new part of the covenant, which I'm still learning. So this question really does piggyback on the last one, and it's, what parts of the ministry do you find the most challenging? What parts are the most joyful? And I think for me, the most challenging initially was really understanding how to work with our residents, I'm very accustomed to ministering through conversation and speaking to people, and for some of our ladies, they do have limited speech, and that was a real struggle for me initially. What I have come to through some prayer and reflection and working with the other sisters and talking with my community here is that the women we work with are really Christ to us. And I began to reflect on, okay, how is this girl Christ to me today? How is this woman Christ to me today? I got to feed a woman, and she took a really long time eating, and I think I sat there for an hour, and she still wasn't totally done. But just being able to look into her eyes as I'm giving her this pudding, there was this sense of Christ, of this love, and I just was so blessed, feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm serving Jesus, like I'm feeding Jesus right now. And there was so much joy and this sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in this ministry, and I saw the reality of what is happening here. And it's not us doing for the ladies, it really is them doing for us. They give us, by essence of their very being, they give us these opportunities to serve Jesus and to minister to him, and that is so huge and a really beautiful blessing in the ministry work that we do here with the daughters. So that's it for this week. Q&A done. And if you have any questions, as always, feel free to write them in the comments below. You can email me, write me a letter, put them on Twitter, Facebook, however you want to reach me, go for it. Shoot me your questions and I will include them in a future video. I would like to ask your prayers for a special intention. I've been talking with a lot of other people in formation. It's been wonderful. I've been getting letters and emails from seminarians and other postulants and novices and aspirants, and I just really want to pray for them and pray for all of us here in formation with the Daughters of St. Mary of Providence as you begin to progress forward in this journey towards Christ. You begin to encounter spiritual warfare, and we don't talk about it a lot. We don't want to dwell on it too much, but it is a reality, and I really just want to pray for peace and for strength for everybody who is in formation, who is discerning a vocation, that Christ would just guard their heart and protect them, and that Mary, Queen of the Angels, would be with us. And we pray that whatever hardship is happening in our lives, whatever we're going through, that God's love, that His grace and mercy and peace would just pierce through that darkness around us, and that we would be free from that. So if you would just keep that in your hearts forever, but in particular over this next week, that would just be awesome. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful weekend and a blessed Holy Week. Bye.